everybody? Tire Metalhead Weatherman here. Hopefully, everyone's had a good holiday weekend so far. Some interesting events ahead here because, everyone's doing their shopping. Everyone's still cleaning up from Thursday, of course. And then also, there's a lot of sports fans that are going to be active this weekend, including yours truly. So we'll go ahead and briefly touch on what's ahead here for the weekend. Be sure smashing the like button, decimating the subscribe button, and obliterating the share button. So one thing to make note of here is no severe weather. We love saying that here. We really do. No severe weather this weekend. So for the most part, as far as severe storms are concerned, we don't have anything to worry about. However, we do have some winter weather we need to talk about, mainly pertaining around this right here. This right here is a low pressure area that is going to be bringing more snow towards Nebraska and Kansas here, now that it's begun to start moving out from the Rockies here. And then eventually this is going to work its way towards the Midwest and maybe even into the Ohio Valley before pushing into the Northeast. Also, the Great Lakes need to be on the lookout for this system as well. So keep your eyes open for that. There is increased chances of shower and storm activity towards Florida this evening and into the overnight hours. It should start to clear out by late overnight tonight, though. So not really going to be too concerned with that. But if you hear some rumbles of thunder over here towards south central Florida, don't be surprised. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into the meat of the forecast and the main topics here. Outside of the snow, which is going to be the cooler temperatures, you can actually see on our temperature map here that we have that little low pressure over here. Just look for this little area of counterclockwise spin. You can see it in this little swirl right here where we got those temperatures in the 20s here across South Dakota, Nebraska, and parts of Kansas. You can kind of see it beginning to become a little bit more obvious as we continue to go on that low, strengthening a bit more. And here's where that recipe for the snow gets set up. We have a little bit of that Gulf moisture coming in, and it's running into this cold air here. Most times the moisture will outrun the cold, but if you have enough lingering and left over, what will end up happening is, of course, that cold air freezes at the high levels. It translates all the way down to the surface, especially with temperatures like these, and you get a good chance of snow. You can get even some moderate to heavy snow burst at times too. So we go forward here and you can see that that cold air starts to retreat back to the north, and the snow chances will start to retreat north along with that. So then at that point we're looking at areas maybe more so like Minnesota and Iowa and Wisconsin maybe getting involved in the action here, and then eventually moving off to the Great Lakes as we head towards Monday. As far as, thankfully, there's one thing that's a positive as far as the winter is concerned, or the wintry side of things is concerned, is that for the most part during the day, the winds are going to be rather light. It's really when we get into the evening and overnight hours is when those winds start to pick up. See those pockets of 20, maybe even a couple 30-mile-per-hour gusts snuck in here, mainly across the Midwest and parts of the Ohio Valley. But look what happens as we get into late morning and afternoon. This is us getting into the mid-morning, the late morning, and then here's the afternoon hours across the southeast, for example. We had those 20-mile-per-hour gusts overnight, and by the time we get towards the middle to latter half of the day, nothing. The only places that really will have higher winds left over is going to be more so to the north, if anything. A couple of pockets here and there around the mountains, but outside of that, winds are going to be rather calm until we once again get into those evening and overnight hours here. And then by the time we get into the morning, it's pretty much a rinse and repeat for the most part. Although the winds will begin to start increasing more over towards the Midwest region that we were talking about here, towards Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. Also seeing Illinois getting into those 20, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts as well, possibly. Nothing showing me the chance for wind advisories yet, but we do have to be on the lookout for those. Then we'll see the likelihood of higher winds begin to increase as the storm system continues to push off to the east for the start of next week. So now with all that being said, last thing we can really do as far as the immediate forecast is concerned is to take a look at just where that precipitation is going to end up. Here's our storm system over here towards Florida that's increasing the chance for showers and storms, and here's our low pressure area that's increasing the snowfall. And watch the snow belt as it continues to move here. We're mainly hanging around the Rockies at this point. By the time we get towards the early morning hours, you start to see that increase in wintry activity over here, mainly towards west central Kansas. And it actually is a considerable looking area as far as snow is concerned. By the time we get to the afternoon here, rain snow line is pushed just past South Kansas here in south central Kansas. As we get close towards Kansas City, you're going to be right on the threshold here between rain and snow at this point. That 540 line is the point where we are right at or maybe below freezing if you're on the backside of that line here. So really it's going to be a matter of timing with the moisture. We could run out of moisture before we could see some notable snow here, but I do think that some snow flurries are likely over here at the very least. Then as this low continues to move off, we see a good bit of wraparound on the back side of this, and then also I see indications of maybe the lake effect machine coming into play here. So we could potentially start to see lake effect snow down the line here. Still questionable in regards to the lake temperatures or the surface temperatures on the lakes for that, but do think there are some opportunities there, and if not now, definitely in the near future we could see more of that. But as far as like a large part of the Northeast is concerned, towards the Ohio Valley, I do think we're mainly going to be staying as a cold rain, which really is a bummer, because obviously that's much more miserable conditions than being in snow, if you ask me. Cold rain does a lot to your immunity as well, so definitely make sure that you are staying weather aware just for that at the very least. See the chance of rain also kind of increased across the south as we head into Sunday. And then beyond that, it looks like things quiet down momentarily. As we go ahead and take a look at the winter weather models here as far as snowfall totals. Of course, as we were expecting towards the Rockies, where we're going to have the highest totals of snow. But look, as we go off to the east here, we do get some decent totals here from the NAM 3 kilometer here towards Kansas in particular. But this little variance here, it's still questionable as to what could happen over here towards Kansas City and areas off to the east like Lawrence, Kansas, and much more. But it's potential that we could see up to about 6 inches plus here according to some of the models here. Now keep in mind that some of these models do end up being a little bit overdone here. Like if we compare this with the British and the Euro model, for example, the Euro kind of has the snow line a little bit further to the north here, but also you see an increased amount of focus over towards the Kansas-Oklahoma line, and even try to push into the northern panhandle in the upper echelons of Texas here, or the northern echelon of Texas, I should say. Better totals over here also towards Illinois here. Indiana even gets a little bit of action here, albeit not much, traced to about an inch of snow there. Then, of course, Iowa gets a decent amount, maybe 1 to 2 inches there. And then we start to see maybe a little bit of action over here. Most of the lake effect snow, I think, will actually end up being more so towards north of the border, towards northern Canada. Maybe the UP of Michigan as well. And then if we look at other model data like GFS kind of pushes back south, as well as the Canadian model as well. This is the NAM. NAM's kind of pushing a little further north here. So a lot of variance between the models here. So then last but not least, we look at the National Weather Service blend of models, which kind of is like a happy medium between all the models here. It's all the data put together and just kind of finding the mean in between everything. Of course, like we said before, big winner, of course, is going to be anyone that's in the Rockies, particularly towards the eastern half of the Rockies from this point forward. But still, good bit of congruency between the blend of models here and some of the other data. Of course, not quite as aggressive. Like I said, this is the one that produces the happy medium, so to speak, but even up to 5 inches are possible towards central Kansas here. Of course, when we get towards Kansas City, it's a little bit of a question mark as to what's going to happen there still. It's probably going to be more of a nowcast situation as to whether we even get snow, and if we do, just how much will it be. We get some decent action over here just off of Lake Michigan here, so we'll have to watch that as well. And then if we look over towards Illinois, we're starting to get a little bit further into the action than what I was seeing a couple of days ago here. Still about an inch of snow, but before we were kind of on the fence about even getting snow to begin with. So few changes have been made in the last day or so, so no surprises there. And of course, looking over towards the Ohio Valley, we're kind of remaining mostly as rain. We're not going to really see much in the way of accumulation, but some flurries are still possible over here as well. But that being said, that's the end of the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you found it useful, you know what to do. Smash that like button, decimate that subscribe button, and obliterate that share button. I'll have more content on the way for you soon. We'll have a video up tomorrow. Till then, it's been Tired Metalhead Weatherman. You guys have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care.